22nd meeting of the Town of Babylon Planning Board. We do have two public hearings, so we will begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jerry, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just unmute me. Take the mute off. Patrick Halpin.
Present.
Frank Santos. Julianne Nolan. Jerry O'Neill. Dan Truchin, he's out. Ed Wynn. Juan Leon.
Present.
James Vaccaro. Greg Gaxiola. Matt Esposito. Rich Keith.
Okay, we have a quorum. And as I said, we have two public hearings. Before we begin the public hearings, I'm reading the statement into the record. The Planning Board shall have the right to rely on any information that is presented by the applicant. If any such information is later found to be inaccurate or incorrect, the Planning Board may determine that any approvals, building permits, or other actions previously granted in connection with the application are null and void. Denise?
Item 1 on the agenda, public hearing, minor subdivision, job number 22-35B, 384 Scudder Avenue Corp. Proposes to subdivide a parcel of land totaling 15,882 square foot into one 8,344 square foot lot and one 7,538 square foot lot in order to construct two new two-story single-family dwellings with internal garages.
Okay, who's here on behalf of the applicant? Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Good evening, Chairman Halpern, members of the board. For the record, I'm Mark Garrabrand, Esquire, 692 South Wellwood Avenue, Lindenhurst, New York, 11757, on behalf of the applicant. 384 Scudder Avenue Corp. Tonight, appearing on behalf of the corporation are one of its principals, Jeffrey Scott Sperling, who's to the right, and also the architect, Joshua Meyer, who prepared the plan submitted this evening.
Okay, before you begin your presentation, the Planning Commissioner, Rachel Scoffo, issued a memo regarding this particular application. There are a series of conditions and restrictive covenants. Is there anything that you would like to bring to our attention? Does your client have any issues, any concerns?
This is the January 16th?
Well, ours is dated the 17th.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, do I have the wrong one? I might. There's one the 16th, right?
No, that's a different job.
That's a different job. Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
no, right.
Okay, you have the 17th.
17th, yeah.
The 17th. Have you reviewed this with your client?
Yes, I
Are
have.
there any issues, any concerns, anything that you would
No.
like to bring to
We're in
the attention
agreement.
of this board?
We're in agreement with the...
Okay, please proceed.
Okay. So the property is located in the C-Zone district on the south side of Scudder Avenue. It's approximately 100 feet west of the west side of Hawkins. The overall parcel, as you've heard, is 15,881.71 square feet. The street frontage is 125. The rear, 126.38. The east boundary line, 125.62. And the west runs actually two courses, 35 feet and 100.72, for a total of 135.72. It's kind of an irregularly shaped parcel. If you average out all the dimensions, it's approximately 121 feet by 131 feet. The properties to the south, east, and west are all residences in the residential C-zone as well. The property to the north is zoned senior citizen multiple residence, and that's the Cambridge Square condominiums, which are directly across the street from us. The premises presently has a 1.5-story garage, which, as per the Town of Babylon, has been there since prior to 1954. Other than that, there's nothing else on the property. This will be demolished as part of the application. We did appear before the ZBA back on October 14th, 2021, under ZBA's case number 21064 A and B, and at that time were granted variances to reduce the street frontage from 75 feet to 57.50 feet. No other variances were sought or required. But for the moment, if I could just, for planning purposes, I think each one of you have a copy of a tax map that I prepared. Just for illustration purposes, the premises is located in District 100, Section 196, Block 1. Basically, what you have before you is a portion of this tax map beginning on the north side of Brookside, on below. To the left or to the east, you have Great Neck Road, and then up on the top, you have the south side of Scudder Avenue, and then over to the west side of Hawkins. And what I tried to do here is just show, notwithstanding that we already had ZBA approval, our premises, which is marked by the X on the upper right-hand corner, is very much in compliant with the overall residences which are located in this area. The yellow illustrates properties that have street frontage 50 feet or less. The pink has street frontage of 60 feet or less, and the blue has street frontage of 72 feet or less. So you can see a majority of the properties are substandard in this area, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Do any of the board members have any questions regarding this particular exhibit? No? Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Again, we proposed to subdivide it into two parcels. The westernmost parcel, which will be 158 feet west of the west side of Hawkins, has a total area of 8,344 square feet. The street frontage, as I said, will be 57.50. The rear property line will be 65.86. The east boundary line is 130.47, and the west again runs two courses, 35 and 100.72 feet, for a total of 135.72 feet. They average, 62 by 133 if you put it all together. Parcel 2, which is the easternmost parcel, 100 feet west of Hawkins, is slightly smaller, has square footage of 7537.77. Again, the street frontage will be 57.50, was split right down the middle. The rear will be 60.52, the east 125.62, and the west 130.47. So again, this is an irregularly shaped parcel, approximately 59 feet by 128 feet. We're proposing to develop two-story colonials, no basement, and no interior garages. We are proposing a 4-foot wide concrete sidewalk in front. I will note that neither of the premises to the east or west of us have sidewalks, even though a number of the premises on Scudder Avenue on the south side do. We are also proposing that the existing retaining wall, which is located at the rear of the property, the southern boundary line, is going to be replaced with stacked block retaining wall. Each dwelling is going to be approximately 2,753 square feet. The main floor in each dwelling was going to have a kitchen, a dining room, a living room, den, a half a bath on the main floor. Access to the crawl space will be in a closet under the center stairway. There's going to be a deck in the rear, which will not extend any further into the side yard than the lines of the dwelling. The second floor will have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. There will be a master bedroom in the front of the house, which also has a master bathroom. Now, parcel number 1, if we could bring up the, is it possible, the surveys and the renderings? Can you do both or no? Or just one at a time?
Okay, there we go. You want to do?
Well, I was going to, well, I can, yes, if you could do it, yes, parcel number 1, that would be great, okay. Again, this area totals 8,944 square feet. You can see that the dwelling is set back 30 feet as required. The western side yard will be 12.1 feet, which is significantly greater than the current setback for the garage, which is located on the property, which is only 7.7 feet. The rear yard setback is in excess of 49 feet. And the eastern side yard will be 15 feet. The garage will be located on the left side of the dwelling. There'll be a 10-foot wide asphalt driveway. We're also proposing a 10 by 17 deck, which is going to be 2 feet above grade, which is located in the left rear of the premises. There's a covered porch in the front, which is approximately 4 by 21, with gray vinyl siding, black roof, black shutters, and a white garage door. You could also see that in this one, we have the one gable located over the bump out on the upper right-hand side, and we also have a gabled front entrance with windows on either side of the front door. And we tried to distinguish this somewhat from the other proposal. So if we could bring up the other two. Okay. We're good? Thanks. Okay. So again, you'll see here that the total area is 7,538 square feet. The dwelling is set back at the 30-foot setback requirement. The side yard to the west is going to be 15 feet. The rear yard setback is in excess of 44 feet. The side yard to the east will be 10 feet. The garage is going to be located on the right of the dwelling, again with a 10-foot wide asphalt driveway. Again, we're proposing a 10-foot by 17, 2-foot above grade deck located in the rear right of the premises, and the covered porch in the front is approximately 4 by 21. In this case, we're going to go with the white vinyl siding, black roof, black shutters, and the black garage door. In this case, we try to distinguish it from the other one by having the two gables on top. Any questions at this point?
Do any of the board members have any questions? Jerry?
Good evening. Two questions. The retaining wall at the rear of the property, is your elevation higher or lower than the neighbor? What's the purpose of that?
It's been there. Okay. So
Okay.
I believe the premise is somewhat lower.
Our piece is a little bit higher, and there's an existing wall that we're going to replace. It's only about 12 inches.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. We have to get your client on the record.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
answer that question, please.
I thought I could just sneak in under the radar.
There's no sneaking in here.
Jeff's,
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, sir.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Jeffrey Scott Sperling, 2 Prospect Avenue, Bay Shore, New York.
Okay, please proceed.
In the rear of our property, we're about 12 inches higher than the properties to the south of us. So we're going to take that wall out and replace it with stack wall.
Okay. Second part of that question, in that southeast corner, there's a curb cut, and there's a parcel that comes in from Hawkins Boulevard.
Yep.
Was that a driveway into the back end of the property previously?
It's not owned by this particular parcel,
No,
so
it's not. It wasn't. We didn't acquire it.
Okay.
It might have been.
Was it ever connected? I mean, it looks like a driveway from
Well-
Hawkins into the back end,
Yeah, it does.
but that's not yours.
No.
It's not ours.
Okay, all right, I'm good.
Any other questions? Julianne, no? No questions?
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone that would like to address the board regarding this particular application? Sir, come on up.
Good evening, board.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
You have a card? Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Ainadian Fernando, and I live in 275 Copper Place, the property behind.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
Regarding the retaining wall, our property is lower than the property on the scooter. Since 2022, we have a problem. They add too many ground to the floor. They put around 15 to 20 track of dirt, and they rise the level of the ground. So now our yard is like a pool. Every time that it is raining, as the ground is like this, all the water is going to our property. One time I have to claim my insurance went up. That's not a big problem. The problem is, I would like to know if they're gonna adjust the retaining wall and also the fence. We are running in our property a daycare, licensed with New York State, everything is correct. We have inspection 2-3 times a year. We have a problem with the fence. The fence is coming apart. The nails are facing up. It's not good for our kids. One time I called to the company. I found the company is on Broadway 77. It's a Mr. I found a name, Richard Rosenbusch. I called to the office. I explained I have a problem regarding the fence, and they say, we're going to do anything because this is an investment property. But I have a problem. Every time that we have an inspection, they take a note. It's not good for our daycare and for our kids. I have picture. You could see the...
Please, would you mind sharing the pictures with
Sure.
us? Matt, could you get the pictures?
You could see picture from Google here. You see the pile of the dirt. I don't know if you need a variant or some permission to add that quantity of dirt.
Where's all this dirt coming from?
I don't know. That's the same question from 2022. I've been in contact with Silvia Calderon.
Is this dirt still there?
No, they flatted.
Oh, it's been leveled, okay.
I spoke with too many people, Silvia Calderon, Rich Affer, Kevin Kane, Matthew Lewis, Pat Farrell, Ron Russell, Tom Stay, Anthony Martinez. It's too many people went to the property, and I didn't have not even one question.
Matt, I have a question, maybe you can help answer it. Is this dirt on the property that they're proposing to develop, or is it behind it? Where exactly is all of that water coming from?
I don't know where that they're coming from. They put it.
Okay,
The owner of
of this property.
this property, yeah, 384 scooter. And there is no retaining wall.
Okay, all right. So why don't you just ask that question?
Also, if you go to Google today, you could see the barn at the front. The window is like 1 foot from the floor because they add too much dirt.
Go ahead. Jerry, you
I'm looking at a picture here, one of the ones that you showed us, that appears to be the area behind the existing garage. Appears to have the piles.
And they move it all
And
around.
that's right in the back of their property against
Yes.
the retaining wall. And that was put there, and now it's level with the top of the retaining wall?
Correct.
So they use that to level off the back of their property?
Not on my property, on their
No,
property.
to their property?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But it's going higher. So I don't know if you're gonna build a house on the hill.
this is one of our terrific planning staff.
I don't know if you need a permit or variant or something for that.
I know part of the conditions and part of what goes on is that the water must be contained on the existing property. Is that correct? Could you illuminate that for us? Okay.
There's a dry wells on site for roof drainage, so all the drainage will be contained on site.
And what about the water coming off the property as a result of it being higher than the adjacent property, than this gentleman's property?
That's something we have engineering check. All the roof drainage is connected to dry wells, shown on this plan.
Because as today, we have problem without the property. Can you imagine with the property, it's less ground?
All right, you've raised a good question. We will ask the applicant how he plans to mitigate that water and make sure it stays on that property and not yours.
Okay.
So stick around for the answer.
Yes?
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm fine.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, board.
We appreciate it. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Sir?
Hello. I live at
Hold
27.
on, hold on.
Sorry.
Give Matt the card.
Sorry.
Okay, please state your name and address.
My
for
name
the
is
record.
Robert Smith. I own 273 Copeg Place.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the
Yes, I do.
truth. Please proceed.
I'm directly behind them too, just like Fernando. He's my next door neighbor. And every time it rains, I lost a refrigerator, a washing machine already because of it. And I saw already at least 20 tractor trailers full of dirt dumped there. And then, you know, they spread it all out, whatever they're doing to make their property better. But I want to say their property is 2 feet higher than my property. You know, I'm not a professional, but it's definitely a lot higher. You know, and all of their water comes in my yard. And not only that, from them dumping the dirt, it's wrecking the fence, just like he said. You know, it's an older fence, and it's their fence, and the fence is falling apart, and you know, it's all falling in our yards, and the dirt's coming through the fence actually into my yard, and you know, since they've been doing that, I planted some privacy trees back there, you know, but they're only 4 feet tall right now, so, you know, I'm having the same problems as he's having.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all.
Thank you for coming down tonight.
You're
We'll
welcome.
look into
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board regarding this application? No? Okay, Mr. Chilroy?
Low back there, wow. That's a lot of dirt.
So your neighbors have a legitimate issue. I don't know who put the dirt there, but I'm concerned that after they must have seen the run of the water go into the neighbor's yard, they did nothing about this. So tell us how your client plans to mitigate
Well,
this.
how recent are those photos? Because I know that there was an issue. I know the town was down there, and we did remedial work there. Yeah, that whatever was put there was done by my clients.
Okay, hold on. Just nod your head. Have you had any problems recently with flooding?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So it's recent.
Well, I think everybody has, but.
Excuse me?
I think everybody has, you know,
With what?
with
Water?
flooding.
Yeah, we have. It's been a lot of rain, but still. Go ahead.
Well, my understanding is that the drainage will flow north.
Which will be
Excuse me?
away from their property.
Yes. I mean, I know the town was back down there.
Well, that's besides the point. Obviously, it hasn't been flowing north. So what are you, so you're gonna have drainage, you're gonna have dry wells, what else are you gonna do to mitigate? And will
The-
this stone retaining wall that's being built there, excuse me, correct me if I'm wrong, did I hear your client say that they are taking the old fence down and building this retaining wall?
I don't know if they intended to take the old fence down. I mean, it is an old fence, but they are doing the retaining wall, redoing the retaining wall.
But you're not replacing the fence,
Not at this time, are we?
where all the dirt goes through to the neighbor's yard? Okay.
Can I defend myself or no?
Please,
Hold on,
Oh.
one at a time. Would you like your client to come up?
please.
Why don't you? Sure. All right, just tell us.
Jeff's,
Yeah,
so
you've heard
the
concern.
property pitches to the north. The retainer wall is definitely there, but our dirt's not higher than that. And when they made a complaint to the town, we actually went down there and cut down even deeper, which wasn't fill, it was the existing grade. That retainer wall was there from the existing grade. In the front, there was some low spots. We brought material in and we spread it about so that we wouldn't have pooling on the property. We've maintained the property. There's grass on there. We have a landscaper come out there. I don't disagree with the fence, but your own inspectors have come out there. The fence somehow got broken and pieces actually came onto our side. I'm not sure how that would happen, but it did. We're just trying to move forward. Going forward, all the drainage is going to be installed, you know, as per code. and all the water that comes off of these homes will be, maintained on the property. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any of the other board members have questions? Jerry? No? Julianne?
Can we just ask Mr. Smith or Mr. Fernando, when were these pictures taken?
Okay. I started to collect these pictures since 2021, 2022, when I filed a complaint, and I have also a picture from the fence. I mean, but today is too rotten. You cannot put not even a nail because it's like a sponge. And it's very dangerous for the kids, We take care of our kids. It's our responsibility.
How old are these pictures?
Those are from last week. I could take pictures today. Every day I have to go into Home Depot and buy a new one and put a new one because it's my responsibility. Even that's not my fence, but I have to fix it.
Understood. Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Would you like to come back up?
I would.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If I was running a daycare, I'd put up my own fence.
I think you just said that, didn't you? Is that your fence? It's your fence. No. Oh, it's your fence.
Yeah.
That's falling down. You're responsible for your
I agree that I'm responsible for my fence, but if I was running a daycare, I would clearly put up my own fence.
Both sides last year. Both sides, but I couldn't touch.
Okay, hold on.
I have a question for that.
Jerry?
I was looking at the picture here, and the stockade fence is currently nailed against the retaining wall, the wooden retaining wall that's there. You said you're going to take out the retaining wall and put in a block one.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't the fence have to come down?
I haven't looked at it, but if that's something that has to happen, 100%.
Okay. I would suggest that.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Can we see those photos?
May I go up and look at them?
That's all right. We're good. Are you looking at that? Okay. Yeah, the fence has got to come down.
This is the retaining wall here. So it's on the
Yeah.
other side of the fence.
I mean, if it absolutely has to come out, we're going to take it out and replace it. However that has to happen,
Is this your side of the fence or their side of the fence?
this is their side of the fence.
Okay, all right, because I couldn't even see the retaining wall when I went there.
Oops, I'm sorry.
All right? Frank?
So one of the things you mentioned was about the dry wells. But the dry wells are collecting the roof, the water from the roof
Correct.
leaders.
Yes.
So you still have to pitch your property away from their property.
Yes, I think that is the way that it goes. I mean, grass,
You have to speak on the record, please.
sorry.
Sorry. We record everything.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Just to get up to the record so.
The roof runoff will definitely be retained. Grass itself, more than, absorbs any kind of runoff. I mean, I'm not saying if you have a hurricane and it rains for 5 days, but on, 364 days of the year, your grass absorbs any kind of rain that falls.
Absorbs it, but if it's pitched the wrong way, still has to be pitched to your property.
Right, we show the elevations on there.
I know. That's my question, because there are no obviously open grates.
Right.
Okay, so you still have to.
But we could do that if required. Okay.
I'm just asking, it should be pitched towards your property to keep the water on your property, correct?
Well, typically you crown a property, I mean, typically, anywhere that we build, this isn't the first, I've built not 100 homes, but, way over 50. You always pitch out, and you do control your own water. His property more than likely pitches back towards the retainer wall, and it has nowhere to go because I'm sure he doesn't have dry wells. So that becomes somewhat problematic. That's why they enforce dry wells now on new construction.
So the soil underneath is going to be good enough to retain the water?
Oh, absolutely. Seed, more than likely.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Matt, where are we with the review of this application? Engineering will look at that, yes? To February? Yeah, okay. So we need a motion to close this public hearing. Motion by Julianne? I'm sorry, to close this public hearing, but we will extend the record to the 5th of February. So this public hearing's been closed. We need a motion by Julianne, second by Frank, to extend the record to February 5th, 2024, in order for us to review the feedback that we've received this evening, as well as review any open items related to the site plan. If you have any additional information for the planning board, you may do so in writing until the record extended date, which is February 5th. To submit additional comments or to follow up on the status of the applications, you can also contact the planning department. You can come to the planning department in person. It's located on the west wing of the town hall between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Or call the planning department at 631-957-3103, or send information via email at planningcomments@townofbabylon.com. So that concludes our public hearing. Thank you very much. And I suggest maybe you could speak to the gentleman in the back there to get a little bit more. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Item B on the agenda, public hearing, site plan review, lifting of planning board covenants and restrictions, job number 23-11AD, T&E Group LLC, proposes to lift and amend covenant restrictions number 10 and 11 from Planning Board Resolution number 2008-024 in order to construct interior alterations to add doctor's offices to the second floor of an existing building and legally maintain site work to add parking to the rear of the site.
Who is here on behalf of the applicant?
I am.
You look familiar. Please state your name and address for the record.
Mark Garabrandt, Esquire, 692 South Leawood Avenue, Lindenhurst, New York.
Okay, Mr. Garabran, there is a memo dated the 16th of January from the Planning Commission regarding this application. There's a series of conditions as well as covenants and restrictions. Have you had the opportunity to review this with your client?
Yes, I have.
Are there any issues, any concerns, any objections?
None. None.
Please proceed.
Okay. Again, I represent T&E Group, Inc. With me tonight are the two principals, Dr. Mohammed Fuad El-Baba and Dr. Benzad Talabian. Also, our architect, Harold Gebhardt, who I know is well known to the board. I've gotten to know Dr. El-Baba and Dr. Talabian over the course of this application. It started some time ago, and we've had a number of renovations submitted to the town. But I've become very fond of these two men who've been practicing pediatrics, I would say probably a combined 80 years. Is that fair to say? Okay.
They're too young.
They were, I believe they were originally located in Bethpage, and then they relocated some time ago to Garden City, where they have their principal office. A number of years ago, they opened up a satellite office on Main Street in Babylon, and then in January of 2007, they purchased the premises where they presently operate a practice out of 990 Deer Park Avenue in Babylon. The premises is located on the west side of Old Deer Park Avenue, approximately 120 feet south of Strathmore Drive. It's approximately 21,476.52 square feet, almost just shy of an acre, located in the E-Business zoning district of the town. The surrounding premises to the north, south, and west are A residence. Immediately south to and abutting our premises is the North Babylon High School, and the property to the east across Old Deer Park Avenue is C residence, and utilized for both offices, including another pediatric office, which is directly across the street, and residence. As I stated, my clients purchased these premises back in January of 2007. At that time, when they purchased it, as I said, they had opened up a satellite office in Babylon on Main Street, and the idea was to basically purchase the premises for that purpose as well. We appeared before the board on March 10th, 2008, at which time we received planning board approval for the existing building, a beautiful one, I might add, and which was a great improvement, actually, to the community. They had to demolish the existing building that was already there. At that time, the board issued a number of covenants and restrictions, two of which, numbers 10 and 11, we are seeking to lift. Number 10 read no more than one physician nor no more than one licensed physician's assistant shall operate out of the medical office. At the time, as I said, we were using this as a satellite office, and it was probably something that not much thought was given to as to the limitations that were imposed by the town at that time. And perhaps the town was also trying to see how this was going to work itself out. They also, at number 11, provided that use of the building's second story would be limited to storage and non-medical professional offices. I will note that at number 10, the planning board also allowed for the opportunity for us to come back and make a request to the planning board to lift the covenant upon submission of a modified site plan showing the construction or some of all of the land bank stalls, as well as the construction of additional ADA handicap parking stall and additional drainage for expansion of paved area. And it also provided that a public hearing, which is obviously where we are tonight. I will note that number 13 of those covenants restrictions had to do with our request at that time, which was granted, to land bank 7 of the 27 spaces, the parking spaces, which were provided. The covenants and restrictions went on to say that if the land bank parking is approved by the board and the need for said parking arises in the future, the owner or applicant agrees to submit a modified site plan prior to the proceeding with construction, and the applicant owner shall construct additional spaces if the planning board and development commission of the town of Babylon shall deem it necessary due to overflow parking. So we have submitted an application, it was probably well over a year ago. As I said, there have been a number of revisions. Perhaps we can pull up the latest version of it. Okay. It's right here.
Okay, so what are those, okay. We don't need to go through all the revisions, but
So basically what we have...
what did the latest changes focus on?
The parking, for the most, the parking and a new handicap ramp. I mean, obviously, we're seeking to add not an office and also exam rooms on the second floor, and that's part of the lifting of that covenant. But basically, I think the essence of this application is parking. At the town's request, we've also modified, even though we had a certificate of occupancy for the existing handicap ramp, we requested to modify it, and we're doing that in the proposed plans. Basically, the code requires 31 parking spaces. Okay, so we're required to have 31. We have 27, 5 of which in the rear, I guess, southern portion right there, they've been earmarked for employee parking only. On the north there, I don't know if it shows it there, but there were two parking spaces, two parking spaces which we were originally proposing, which the town did not feel that there was ample space for a vehicle to back out. So those are going to be no parking, and there'll be signs posted indicate no parking. We've provided the additional handicap parking space, and we have to go before the Board of Appeals, obviously, for variance from the 31 to the 27, which is the next step. So with respect to the parking issue, I think what is especially significant is the report which was prepared by Cameron Engineering on behalf of the town in connection with this application. And I make reference to the most, I guess, recent report of theirs. They actually did an analysis on April 20th of 23, July 20th, and then again on October 17th. And this most recent one is dated January 9th of 2024. At that time, they said, our office has no further objection after all the revisions that we made to the department approving this application and the required 4-space parking variation, calculating, again, use the 31 square spaces which are required and the 27 that we have. What I found most compelling was that the Cameron Engineering mentioned that in original April 2023 review, we relied on a parking count and the Institute of Transportation Engineers Parking Generation Manual, the 5th edition, which recommended 18 parking spaces for a 3,858.3 square foot medical office, which is what we have. So they're saying that according to the Institute, we only need 18 parking spaces. It goes on, for the town's information, the ITE Parking Generation Manual was since revised to the 6th edition, and the new one calculates 17 spaces, which is again in line with our original letter. In April of 23, we observed 13 spaces occupied on a Thursday morning, and we requested the number of doctors and staff who would have been in the office at that time. With this submittal, the applicant's attorney has provided a letter that notes 7 total employees in the building at the time of our parking, 2 doctors and 5 staff. This supports the required parking variance because the proposal will accommodate up to 8 employees in the building, a 15% increase, 8 versus 7. And in comparison, the 27 proposed parking spaces represent more than twice our observed parking demand, 27 to 13. I noted that in one of their previous reports that the time of the inspection by Cameron was done at, I believe, 10:45 in the morning. So unbeknownst to the doctors, I went there today just, to get my own head count. And I figured on a Monday morning, got to be a busy time. 13 spaces were taken. That was it. I mean, so it seems to us we have more than ample parking to go forward with this. And obviously my clients are very mindful. They're pediatricians, and they're not going to have their patients parking off premises. It's just not going to be. If the parking becomes a problem, they'll have to spread their time out. They know that. Thank you.
Is that it for your presentation?
Unless you have some questions of Mr. Gebhardt with respect to the, either the parking lot or the interior.
Do any of the board members have any questions? No? Any board members? No. We have no questions. I don't have any questions. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board regarding this application?
Should I do it for the heck of it?
Pardon me?
Should I just do it for the heck of it?
Well, you came all this way, you are billing your clients, I'm sure, so you may get your money. They ought to get their money's worth, but it's not necessary. If this was Rich Schaefer's town hearing, the answer would, you don't have to.
Yeah, I got you.
Town board. He doesn't like people to go on. That's all we love. Okay. Matt, where are we with departmental comments?
Revision was submitted last week and under review by planning. Planning staff recommends extending the record will be to January 29th.
Okay, to January 29th. Okay. So this public hearing has been closed. We will extend the record to this matter to January 29th, so I need a motion to do that. Motion by Jerry? Second by Ed?
Second?
All in favor? Approved. We need that time in order to review any additional feedback we may receive, that we've received this evening, as well as review any open site issue plans. Plan issues. If you'd like to provide any additional feedback to the planning board, you may do so in writing until the record extended date of January 29th, 2024, to submit additional comments or to follow up on the status of the application, of the application. You can contact the planning department. You can do that in person. It's located on the west wing of the town hall between 9 and 4 p.m. or by phone, 631-957-3103, or via planningcomments@townofbabylon.com. Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, just, do we know when you expect to actually have those? In case we wanted to respond to them, to the town's comments.
Okay. The short answer is we'll have the comments by the 29th, unless something unusual. Is that
Okay.
correct?
All right.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good answer.
Thank you. Thank you.